Hi guys, T-Bull here. Today we're going to be talking Azur Lane Commanders. They're going back on sale here. I think it's tomorrow, as far as I know. Whether they're going to be sold individually or, that you can pick which commander you get, or if they're just Azur Lane crates, you got a random chance for each commander. I don't know. But I'm going to give you a rundown on all of them. Spoiler alert, I think they're all strong. If you do purchase them via crates and you get one or two of them, you're not going to be disappointed by them. I think they're all strong commanders, interesting inspirations across the board, but there's certain ones that I would very highly recommend, particularly the last one we'll look at. But we'll start off with France here, Dunkirque. A couple of these I haven't leveled up. Doesn't mean I'm not interested in them. It just means, for instance, here I have JoJo, a lot of points in there, so we haven't yet had an opportunity to put a lot of promotion orders slash insignias into this one. It is kind of a hybrid between JoJo and uh, Guy, I think his name is. Uh, like all the Battleship commanders, event commanders, we're not going to have strong legendaries to choose from. Now, they are going to rework the legendary perks here. I don't know if that's going to be next update or multiple updates down the line, but they are working on rebalancing those. So we'll see if that changes things. But right now, I kind of have it set up as an accuracy build slash with heals. But here we got a unique perk, shell type switch time, and you can see when you get that maxed, which would be level 2 legendary, or level 12 legendary 2. I expect the shell's type switch time to be instantaneous. Now, it does reduce the damage, but that is extremely intriguing. And you'll note that particular perk is applicable to all ship classes. So if you're interested in kind of off the beaten path builds, that's an interesting option there. Here we do have the Megalomania, we do have the Dispersion perks, Brawler, Turret Traverse over here. So there's a lot of good options, a lot of solid ways to set that one up. Base trait, reduce flooding damage to your ship. Again, not just battleships, but any ship. Looks like, I don't know what that would be, 15%, whatever reduction it is. I mean, it's a significant reduction to flood damage to your ship. Normally, my own personal thoughts are if you already have a flood and it's a permanent flood, you're kind of boned to begin with. So reducing the damage at that point in time may or may not be beneficial. It's probably nice if you got it on there and you need it, but in general, I think it's a little bit too late. Too little too late if that one's becoming in play. But overall, I think a pretty strong commander and one that I am looking at leveling up soon. Hipper over here, another one that I don't currently have points into. I was actually slated to boost that one earlier, but Von Mueller was part of the Grover Kurfürst Research Bureau project, so I did end up promoting him since I had him at level 11 or 12 to begin with. Hipper, though, reduce burning damage to your ship, so a universal perk. Pretty strong there. A lot of you guys tell me to use that on your battleships, especially if you're anti getting burned to death all the time, which a lot of battleship commanders don't really like. All the HE shooting cruisers right now, that could help there. But basically, how I would run this is basically Von Mueller, but here we have the turret traverse slash incoming splash damage, which helps protect your mods from HE damage, and then of course it tells you how many ships you're being targeted by on the enemy squad. So Insignias, plenty of upsides, no downsides there. Here we do have the little bit of an HE boost, AP boost here, and then accuracy boost. So pretty strong build overall there. Like the battleships, we're losing the extra consumable legendary perks. So the legendaries across the board on these event commanders tend to be a step down. That's a balancing mechanism because this section up here is so strong just by being able to pick the best of the best. So we're losing a consumable basically on each consumable class that we have on a particular ship, but this is an acceptable fallback reload time of the main guns. Not going to hurt anything. So pretty strong commander there. Again, it's just a bit of a fluke that I actually haven't promoted that one quite heavily quite yet, but that is in the plans. Here we got 3 Azur Lanes for the British. I'll start off with Hood. This one probably the least intriguing for me. Reduce incoming torpedo damage. Again, this is applicable to all ship classes. Decent. Looks like about a 10% reduction probably when maxed. And then, of course, it's kind of a straight-up blend between Cunningham and Madden. again, we're losing enticing perks there, but we get the 5 heal option there with potentially an actually build or more of a brawler build, however you want to set that up. Unique skill over here, Royal Navy's Glory. It's a damage con cycling perk, which is always nice, but it also increases the max battleship speed. So not bad overall, but due to the fact that we have, or I have 4 battleship commanders, that one's kind of the least intriguing here. Much more intriguing though, Nelson. Reduce incoming damage to your battleship. You can use this interchangeably with Hide, those of you that have him. Hide increases your ship's HP, and this one reduces damage to battleships. So Hide typically is going to be better the more HP the ship starts with. Think about Grosser Kurfürst with 100,000, whatever it is, HP. Whereas lower HP battleships, this one might be stronger. So if you're willing to do a little bit of math, do a little bit of figuring that out, sometimes Nelson's going to be better, sometimes Hide. Of course, you could slap them both on builds and make it quite tanky. Here, though, it's a straight up blend between Cunningham and Madden. Unique perk over here, though, Big 7. Battleship main gun, AP damage, HE damage, both of them have the potential to be increased to 16%. But losing a lot of armor penetration, so I still am playing around with this perk, still experimenting with it. But in general, that seems quite strong. If you can get those shells in there, you're doing a massive amount of damage with those. So Nelson's probably the second most enticing commander of the bunch, in my opinion. Belfast over here, I'm not that hyped about this one either. I do have it on the actual Belfast and the Exeter, mainly because those ships have HE. Here we have an option to boost the HE fire chance. We got the Insignias with the turret traverse, the splash damage, the indicator, AP pen here. We can put an AP pen here, accuracy, and then reload cycler. Base trait, decent. It's relevant. It's not horrible. The UK cruisers, when they're sitting in smoke and they get rushed, eventually they're going to get spotted through their smoke fire penalty. This reduces that. This unique perk over here, I'd be much more interested in it if it didn't reduce a smoke charge, but because it does, and because you don't have the option to put the extra perks over here like you normally would, now we're down to 1 smoke. So enhancing the smoke when you can only use it once, it's an option. It gives you much bigger smoke, which is kind of the downside of those British cruiser smokes, and reduces the detection within that smoke even more. Combined with this, it would be a very, very powerful smoke charge, but you'd only have 1. So I basically don't consider it because of that. If they ever drop the smoke generator charge penalty, I'd probably test that one out quite extensively. So a good commander, but in general, I just have Fraser on my main line, and then I stick Belfast in there, the ones that can shoot HE. But Atago, I don't think there's one over here. Yeah, so the last one we have is Atago. This one, if you can cherry pick the commanders, this is the one that I have the strongest recommendation on. I use it as a cruiser commander for my Japanese line. We'll talk about that in a second, but it's also an extremely strong inspiration for destroyers. So if you're a destroyer main and you want this perk, this base trait, could be worth buying just for that. This is going to reduce the detection of your torps by 200 meters. That's effectively shaving off a second of reaction time. The reaction time isn't a stat that's in the game. I've explained how to calculate it. I think it's in the Journeyman's playlist of videos on my channel. But basically, how long the player has to react from the time the torps pop up on their screen, and the thing starts beeping saying, uh-oh, we got torps coming in. How long between that moment and the moment they actually hit the ship? And if we can shave a second of reaction time off, that's extremely strong. And a second reaction time is usually about a 15 to 20% reduction in actual performance. So in terms of actual influence, it's a very strong base trait. Not as applicable. I mean, it doesn't hurt when you have it on your Japanese cruisers because you are going to be throwing those torps out, but they're primarily zoning torps, so not as reliable for the cruiser build itself, but for a destroyer inspiration, extremely strong. Here, it's kind of, again, it's a hybrid between Yamamoto and Makawa. I personally favor Makawa over Yamamoto quite a bit. Here, though, we have an extremely strong perk. It's the ultimate high risk, high reward type perk. Incoming damage for our cruisers up 10%. Outgoing damage, HE shell damage, 10%, plus an 8% chance to start the fire. So this is going to up your damage output. But if you're taking shots in this thing, you're going to reduce how many meaty shots you can take by basically one, maybe even two shots. This basically makes you a one or two shot, depending on what type of damage you're taking right off the bat. But if you're good at angling, if you're good at dodging, this kind of it makes it a very fun type of ship to play. You know, again, high risk, high reward. But even if you're not that interested in that, you can still run other builds over here. You know, more traditional cruiser builds. Those are the options. But if you're just trying to get it for a destroyer inspiration, again, I think it's one of the strongest base traits in the game. I think we covered all of them, right? Yeah, we got none there. We got the one there. We got one there. Three there. And one there. So yeah, I think that's all of them. And again, I think if you get any of those, you're not going to be disappointed by them. If it's random and you want to, buy one just to see which one you get, whatever one you get, it's not going to suck. You can get a great build out of all of them. The inspirations are serviceable at worst to extremely strong at best. But if you could cherry pick, I would say I'd put Atago number one, Nelson number two, probably Hipper and Dunkirque, and then take your pick between Belfast and Hood. That's my own personal preference. Hopefully that helps you guys out though for the upcoming buy decision. If you did like the video, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.